and I'm here with my colleague Brian Sims today, who is Learning Tree's Director of Digital Content and Learning Services. Welcome, Brian.
Hello. Hi. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for talking with us today.
Glad to be here.
So Brian will be hosting a webinar along with two of our Learning Tree learning partners Thursday, February 6th, titled Looking at Learning with 2020 Vision.
Yeah, and that's the first time, the only person who's going to have any fun with 2020 in a webinar title all year.
Yeah, so, and I'm not offended at all.
I have context there.
So Brian's going to go ahead and talk about some of the things that will be included in the webinar.
Yeah, we have our friends from Area 9 and Housebase will both be here talking about their respective products. And I think it'll be a really good mix. You know, there have been a lot of webinars over the last few months talking about learning trends in 2020 and you know, kind of what to watch in the training industry, that sort of thing. And this will be a nice summary of a lot of those webinars, because we'll have our friends from Housebase there talking about social learning and collaborative learning and on-the-job learning and training and that sort of stuff. All that white space between actual dedicated training events, and Area 9 there to talk about adaptive learning and AI and how that can be used in your learning. So yeah, really good summary of what 2020 is going to be looking like for learning.
Sounds great. How would you say adaptive learning is different from other e-learning?
It's very different. One really big difference is, you know, with traditional e-learning over the last decade or so, I know people have been trying to get a lot more creative with the way it's delivered, and not at all to knock the efforts of the last few years, but people have been doing different things to organize content better, which is great. Like if I answered a question a certain way, or they know I'm of a certain title or something, when I start a course, they're going to show me a different content that they would show somebody else at a different level or with a different answer. You know, that's all well organized content. Adaptive learning, though, employs AI and algorithms. It's watching a bunch of different stuff and trying to analyze at every particular point through your learning, what is the best thing that Hannah needs to see right now? What does Brian need based on what I'm seeing from him or her?
That's awesome. What do you think AI is doing that makes it so much better?
What it's doing is it's trying to mimic human interaction, right? Artificial intelligence, that's what it's for, or that's its purpose. It's measuring all those things that a human would be kind of trying to gauge in the absence of a human. So it's, when a question is asked, it's analyzing how long did you take to answer it. Since it can't read your facial expressions necessarily, it asks you to, before I tell you if this was right or wrong, how confident are you in that answer? And about 20 other little algorithms that are happening in the background, trying to pair your data and your experience so far with other people like you, and trying to make an intelligent decision. You know, since they went here next and they had success, let me try to put him or her on that path as well. So measuring a lot of different things. Yeah. From the content perspective, that is. AI is also doing some really interesting things, and we'll talk about this in the webinar for the instructor as well. You know, imagine as an instructor, especially where everything's, you know, so virtual now, you've got thousands of comments, you know, hundreds of different answers to questions, that kind of thing. We're employing AI to analyze all that data and take all of it and make a 2-minute summary or a 2-sentence summary for me, or show me a word cloud of all the different topics that people are talking about and what really stands out. And people are using this word which really they have no place using. So why are they talking about this? So AI is really offering a lot to both sides of the classroom.
Yeah, it sounds very helpful for the learner and the teacher.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Right.
What would you say is the most interesting thing you've dealt with AI and adaptive?
Yeah, I mean the massive amounts of data that you get out of it, again from both sides of the classroom, is really opening up. You know, the possibilities are really endless for all that data. You know, on one hand, I have always found it kind of funny. It's so easy to, you know, you can talk to somebody who's expressing a bunch of confidence in what they know, and then they go and take one of these courses, and you're like, no, I can see your level of unconscious incompetence is huge, like
Calls them out.
totally calls them out, right? Like so you can learn a lot about the learner, and this isn't AI at all, but also with things being more digital and instructors having more insight, like oh, in the classroom I didn't get it, or I didn't understand it. Oh really? Because I can see you never even logged in.
Yeah.
So with all this additional information for the classroom, though it can make for a much more enriching experience, again, as we touched on, both for the learner only seeing content that's relevant for them, and for the instructor really being able to tailor that one-on-one instructor time to exactly what I know people are struggling with, questions that I know they're already asking.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So if this hasn't intrigued you guys already to learn more at the webinar and test out adaptive learning, then I don't know what else would.
I know, this is it. This doesn't get any better than this.
Yeah. Trust us.